Hello and welcome. I bet you are all curious about violent offenders, right? Like John Wick, Punisher, and Sons of Anarchies. All these are involved in high level of violences, and they all having high viewer rates. And this is a good sign that public are curious, at least, about violent offenders. Maybe you and I cannot do what our deep minds want to do, and they are doing it for us and a screen and stuff. So today I would like to talk about what makes the violent offenders, especially serial, highly violent offenders. When I mention this, most of you I know think of psychopath, right? But there are three types of psychopath. One is primary psychopath. The other is a secondary psychopath. And the third is disocial psychopath. And what is as important as psychopath is sadism, sadistic personality disorders. Like I said, I have been counseling and interviewing with so many people who committed crimes, some of them very violent and heinous crimes. Okay, even in Japan and in the United States. So I will tell you in lay people's words what makes those serial, highly violent offenders are. Okay, so that everybody can understand it. Oh, by the way, my name is Dr. Samurai, and if you like this minute lecture, please subscribe to make this Dr. Samurai Nation bigger and bigger to cover this globe. Okay, let's start with the sadism. SM is such a popular word, and some of you may use it as sexual ways of getting pleasure. But sadism is those who gain pleasure and excitement from hurting third parties. Anybody is okay. Okay? By hurting and damaging and scarring and killing third party, you get excitement and pleasure. That is the sadism. Okay? And number two, primary psychopath. This is the real psychopath. That's why it has primary in the head. Okay? And actually, what you can really call psychopath is this primary psychopath only. To put it very short, they are people with their emotional handicap. So they are closer to inorganic thing. Probably. It is decided 50% by inheritance and 50% by environment. But I am a scholar who has much more emphasis on environmental effect. That's why I am researching the relationship between childhood, family, environment, and later crimes. Because you can even keep wild animals as pets if you provide enough love and if you can stand they are getting aggressive when they go through this puberty. After that, they get calmed down. But anyway, the fact that you can keep aggressive wild animals as your pets, like bears and tigers, that means even if you are born with 50% aggressive genes, in yourself. Depending upon environment they grow up, they can be, people who live within the legal limits or outlaws. Anyway, primary psychopath is emotional handicap. So it is said they do not need long sleeping hours. They don't smell that good. And even if you suddenly hear big bang right behind you, they are not surprised as you are. That applies to other external stimulus, and the main thing is they don't care about other people's feelings. So no responsibility, no conscientious, no feeling of guilt, and no empathy. So based upon my personal practices for years, there's a high possibility that they missed warm human relationship and physical touches that is necessary, especially right after they are born. In the case of Jeffrey Dahmer, I infer there was no close human contacts because of mother's psychological conditions after he was born. That's my inference. But anyway, that's a primary psychopath. They did not experience human warmth during their first 3 years. So they feel more comfortable with inorganic things, including dead bodies. And third, secondary psychopath. This is the one which is also called sociopath. And sociopath acts like radical primary psychopath. They do highly violent things. But primary psychopaths, you can tell when you see their face. They don't have much emotion, so their faces are like flat. Flat means unemotional. Okay, primary psychopath. But secondary psychopath, their emotion is not handicapped. So they learn to act violently due to their environment. They thought that's the best way to survive. But they also have their normal emotions developed at pretty much normal levels. So they do it impulsively, but later on they regret why I couldn't stop it before I did that. Stuff like that. So in terms of types of acts, primary psychopath and sociopath are pretty much the same. But inside, sociopath feels pain and guilt. So they have this inner conflict all the time. So it's not a good way to live, always carrying pain. And the third one is the social psychopath. This is not also a real psychopath with emotional handicap, but they learn to be like that according to the environment and the subculture they are living. Say you are born to the family of mafia family, and killing people and beating people up is the daily things you see during childhood. Doing that himself is nothing, right? Also, like gangs, there are many active gang members whose father used to be gang members. They see violence in their neighborhood, and father beating others up, and shooting and drive-bys and stuff like that. you see them like a daily event. You develop, oh, this is normal kind of feeling. That's the social psychopath. But it does not mean they did not receive love from their parents. So they love their own families, and they love their girlfriends, and they love their close friends, especially the members of the same gang clique, or the members of the same mafia families and stuff. So when you think about serial highly violent offenders, you have to think about whether he is sadistic or emotional handicap primary psychopath, or sociopath who automatically reacts impulsively and later regrets, or the social psychopath who learn to live like that and don't feel anything except for your close one. And when I see highly violent friends in prison system, and those people I counsel with at the Japanese prison, those things are always in my mind. It's not too academic explanations and descriptions, but this works. And I am confident that there are very few doctors and counselors and things like that who actually faced and talked and felt with who they saw as serial offenders than I did. Unless you are FBI behavioral science unit professionals and stuff like that. So I think me being a Japanese allows me to meet with various kinds of people with different racial backgrounds, and I am appreciative to me being in between as a professional. But I would like to mention a little bit and close this video lecture. Let's go for real examples. Richard Ramirez, he loved seeing his victim agonizing in pain and wiggling and blood bleeding out of the bodies of the victim and stuff like that. He actually enjoyed the process of hurting others. This indicates he has a high level of sadistic personality disorder. But also, the fact that he could do that, his psychopathy is very high too. So his face does not show special aggression, right? Like my eyebrow lines. This is the sign that I've been feeling something. But Ramirez, I corresponded with for several years, he was not like that. So he had high primary psychopathy, but even higher sadistic personality disorder. And one example each. What about the secondary psychopath? This is the one who reacts excessively. I would like to say Stalin of Soviet Union was the one. He was all the time suspicious and paranoid at other people. So I hear he had like 10 bedrooms, and even his subordinates did not know which room he'd sleep in today. So that delayed doctor visiting Stalin when he fell down due to this stroke or something, But he was that pathologic paranoid he killed right away when he didn't like somebody. He even went after Trotsky, who was in some other country, and killed. This is secondly psychopath. In other words, sociopath. Very emotional. But primary psychopath does not enjoy the process. He kills the victim right away. I think Jeffrey Dahmer is a primary psychopath. Although he used drill to make a hole to create zombies who listens to whatever he had to say and he could control to his will. It does not mean he enjoyed the process. He liked death better. I think Ed Gein is also like that. So he used to dig up the grave or newly buried dead bodies. And all those gross human parts in his room found later were made of dead bodies from the graveyard. So it was not into the process, but the result, like a death, right? In this case, I judge the primary psychopathy was higher. And the social psychopath, there are many. Those famous gang members who are now incarcerated, and also mafia or hitmen like Richard Kuklinski. His business was murdering people, right? So he could kill his emotion when he kills others. But he loved his family members so much, his wife and his daughters, 2 daughters. And also another very good example is Mr. Anthony Casso, the gaspipe Casso of Lucchese family. He used to be a underboss of Mr. Amuso, right? He is said to have killed this one man who failed to assassinate him. He had his soldiers catch this guy and hanged him in an empty factory. He shot each knee and shoulder and everywhere. In the end, I think he was shot in the head and died. But before that, he agonized for long hours. But in a TV interview, Mr. Anthony Casso is kind of crying when it comes to the topic of his family. How do you feel about your family and stuff? So he could do serial violence due to his getting accustomed to doing things like that. And there are so many social psychopaths, so to speak, in a mafia family. Very nice people, but could do no normal people can ever do, like cut the sexual parts, organ of a man and put it into his mouth and stuff like that. That you can never do. Even Kuklinski did cut off tip of victim's tongue into the victim's anal and stuff. But he still had strong love for his family. So this is it. When you think about serial violent offenders, you got to think about sadism, primary psychopathy, sociopathy, feeling, and the social psychopathy from living environment and subculture. So this is it. Next time when you watch those movies like John Wick and Punisher and Sounds of Anarchies, I mean, what do you think they belong to? The answer is secondary psychopath, which is sociopath. Okay? They are doing it for revenge for their family. Okay, this is all for today, and you all have a great day.